Look, even if you didn't hear this years ago, this is going to be a really interesting update for you guys. Driveway Lucy, we have asked you guys now, like, what do you really want, right? Help us program the show. And the number one thing was, you guys got to, like, wrap up these things that happened years ago and wrap it up in a nice little bow for us and tell us what's going on. And years ago, Driveway Lucy was a storyline on this show for, was it weeks or a week?
No, like a month.
Was it a month on the show?
Yeah.
All right, so here is what happened back then, and then we have reached out to Lucy, and we've got an update today.
The saga of Driveway Lucy. Lucy comes home early. There's a strange car in the driveway. Her husband is supposed to be there. She doesn't know what to do, so she calls us. We tell her, go in, but she's paralyzed with fear. She goes in. Nobody's there. She texts her husband to no avail. She hid in the house waiting for him to come home. He did with another woman. She peers outside once again, paralyzed with fear. The other woman gets in the mystery car and leaves. He comes in. She confronts him. He responds, I just had some people over from work last night. We went and got buzzed and had a party. But remember, there was no paraphernalia in the house to show that anybody had a party. Then we did War of the Roses. He sent the other woman 24 roses and said the L word. We had the mistress on to answer questions. She never talked to Lucy. We found out he was physically and emotionally involved with his mistress. Lucy couldn't bring herself to leave him and came to the conclusion that she wanted to try going to therapy and counseling. He's going to therapy by himself. She said it was going well. He was making efforts and it was turning around. She said she was starting to see the man she married. She was in a good place, but she said if it happened again, she's done. Last time we talked to Lucy was April of 2017. Wow. Lucy said it had been an interesting few months. They were in a better place for a while. She was on his laptop and found a folder called Work Stuff, where she found inappropriate photos of women. The pics were clearly from women who had sent pics to him. Lucy was obviously upset. She confronted him, and he was defensive, saying the pics were old and when they were in a bad place. However, he ultimately admitted that they were not old, and he had been talking to someone online, exchanging photos and having conversations. He said he never met with the women, but Lucy didn't care. It was still not okay. Lucy didn't immediately say they were done, but she didn't want to live in the same house with him, so she kicked him out. He was staying with another friend who was recently separated. He had been there a month and a half. Lucy had no idea she was going to do. She felt stuck in a place of limbo. They still talked, nothing major. They were still in therapy. Kristen told Lucy she wanted her to do what's best for her and wanted her to realize what she ultimately deserves, not what she should settle for. Bert wanted her to kick him in the balls.
That sounds accurate.
And that's where we left off over 4 years ago.
Wow. What a gift.
My daughters.
How do you do that standing?
I don't know.
You need to take the rest of the morning off? That's exhausting right there. Yeah, I remember this now. So it almost it got really really sad because she just couldn't break away from this guy that clearly was cheating time and time again.
It was so toxic.
And just the fact that she was sitting in the driveway and there's a woman in the house with her husband and she wouldn't go into her own house.
Wow.
We had to push her into the house. And then his excuse, I just had some people over last night and this woman was spending the night. It just got really, really sad because she didn't have the strength to leave. So, what has happened since? Here is our update from Lucy. And you said the last time was 2017.
April of 2017 was the last time we talked to her.
Okay. She writes, wow, people still ask about me? Guess my life was really messed up to be that memorable. Lucy, that is accurate.
Yeah.
Who am I kidding? It was definitely messed up, she writes. Fortunately, she says, a lot is capitalized, has changed over the last several years. I'm not entirely sure where I left off with you guys. You said the last time I talked to you, my ex and I were still together, but I had kicked him out. Well, ... a lot has changed since then. I finally found the strength to leave him and the courage to be on my own. I realized that things would never be better. Our relationship and marriage could never be what it was. Even if I could guarantee he'd never cheat again, the love and the trust would never be what it was.
It was too fractured.
So I decided to stop wasting my time, hoping his actions and my heart would change. Thankfully, I was waiting for the other shoe to fall. Like, I went back to him, but I don't see that happening. Thankfully, we had a pretty easy divorce. We both agreed our marriage was broken and both agreed on a 50-50 split of everything. It took me about 6 months after our divorce to start dating. I dated quite a bit and was pretty proud of myself. Not long after, I met John. I knew instantly he was special. My only hesitation was that he was a widower and had 2 little girls. They seemed like a huge emotional roller coaster that I wasn't sure I could handle. So soon after, my own roller coaster. Thankfully, my heart didn't let me walk away. we started dating, and I fell in love. Not only with him, but with his girls. To make a long story short, John and I married last summer. It was just him, me, and his 2 girls. And it was the most perfect wedding there ever was. When I think back to the hole I was in 4 years ago, I'm astonished by the miracles that God can work in our lives. I'm now the wife of an amazing man with 2 girls who call me mom. I truly feel blessed. Thanks for checking in, and congrats on 20 years from Lucy.
Nice.
How about that?
Wow.
Happy ending.
How about that?
That's great.
We should do this more often. That's the best.
We'll do it again next Thursday. Yeah, how about that? So that's fantastic.
It's beyond fantastic. I'm so happy for her.
So I'm wondering if she got like therapy, because generally you don't go from rock bottom like that without some help and people guiding you along the way to realize that I can have a better life. So I don't know if she got help from somebody else or what happened there.
Or maybe she was just finally got to the point where she was strong enough on her own to realize this is not what's best for me and I'm going to move on. And
Fantastic.
she did.
Learned her worth. That's awesome.
Yeah. Look, you guys remember a lot of these better than we do. So if you have a suggestion on something that you want covered from years past, we'll do the research and try to reach out to them. So hit us up at thebertshow.com.
The Bert Show.